A major Arctic blast is pushing across the country this morning, bringing widespread extreme cold and shattering temperature records for millions of people. The southeastern United States is experiencing particularly severe conditions, with temperatures plummeting to unprecedented lows. The Arctic air has created some unusual phenomena across Florida. Falling iguanas have been reported throughout the state as temperatures drop below the threshold these cold-blooded creatures can tolerate. Meanwhile, the Carolinas have been hit with crazy amounts of snow, creating scenes rarely witnessed in these southern regions. But a significant weather pattern change is coming this week that will alter the forecast dramatically. The jet stream is about to take a major turn, shifting which areas will see heavy snow as February begins, and which regions will experience the most intense cold air over the next 7 days. The polar vortex is gearing up again to unleash an even larger shot of cold air later in February. A significant disruption of the polar vortex is likely during the first half of the month as a result of a sudden stratospheric warming event. This could potentially split the vortex into two distinct circulation centers, amplifying winter conditions across vast areas. Yesterday's winter storm significantly overperformed across North Carolina. Areas near Asheboro, Greensboro, and Charlotte saw widespread snowfall totals of 12 to 18 inches. The Raleigh area was not as fortunate due to a large dry slot that developed, limiting accumulations to just 1 to 3 inches for most locations. Some isolated spots managed to pick up closer to 5 or 6 inches. Near Cape Hatteras, many areas pushed over a foot of snowfall from this winter storm. South Carolina and Georgia also recorded decent snow totals, especially near Columbia and Myrtle Beach. The storm brought significant impacts to regions that rarely see this type of winter weather. Over the next few days, a major weather pattern change will affect nearly all of the United States. The jet stream, which controls upper-level winds, currently features a very large dip across the eastern tier of the country. This dip is allowing Arctic air to plunge all the way down into Florida. Dozens of temperature records are being broken this morning across the Sunshine State. Temperatures have fallen below 30 degrees in almost all of Florida, creating dangerous conditions for wildlife and agriculture. The cold is absolutely intense for this region. As we move into late tomorrow and Tuesday, the weather pattern will really start to change. The jet stream will shift from its current deep trough to more of a northwesterly to southeasterly flow stretching from Washington state back into the southeast. This transition means our weather should be quieter for the next few days without any organized low-pressure systems developing. Wednesday and Thursday will bring the next shot of Arctic air and snow. This system will mainly impact areas in the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and will send an Arctic blast down into the southern plains and along the east coast. Temperatures are going to drop significantly again across these regions. By the end of the week, the weather pattern will favor heavy snow, especially from the northern plains back over into the northeast. We are returning to a pattern similar to what we saw in December, with favorable setups for snowfall in the Midwest, Northeast, and across the Great Lakes region. A ridge is going to build over the Rockies and along the west coast. This will keep western areas much warmer and drier than average. Unfortunately, the east coast will suffer the consequences with below-average temperatures and another significant Arctic blast arriving this upcoming weekend. After this current Arctic blast moves out of the United States tonight and tomorrow, the cold air will linger up and down the east coast at least through Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday will bring another cold front sweeping across Texas back into the northeast, where temperatures will fall once again by as much as 20 to 30 degrees. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will feature a really strong low-pressure system developing over the northeast. This could bring substantial snowfall to areas in New England, the Great Lakes, and the Midwest. On top of that, another significant shot of Arctic air is going to build across the region. If you live in the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, or anywhere in the Ohio Valley, it is going to be bone-chilling cold this upcoming weekend. Next week, that cold air could linger across the Northeast, creating a brutal stretch of weather for 7 to 10 days. Most of the East Coast is currently dealing with temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below average. By the middle of the week, another shot of Arctic air will stretch from Texas back into the Northeast. While not quite as significant, the next Arctic blast arriving next weekend will be much more intense. Right now, extremely cold air extends even as far south as Florida, where areas near Miami are experiencing near-freezing temperatures. All across Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, sub-zero temperatures are being recorded this morning. The conditions are absolutely brutal across these areas. Tomorrow will not bring much improvement. Across the southeast, temperatures will remain below freezing. The northeast will also stay very cold. But things will begin to moderate Tuesday as temperatures climb back into the 50s and 60s along the Gulf Coast. Snow will begin to melt in the Carolinas and Virginia. The Northeast and Midwest will continue to experience very cold conditions as another Arctic blast arrives around Wednesday. That system will mainly impact the Ohio Valley and Northeast. But the more significant blast comes this weekend, when areas across the Northeast could easily see subzero temperatures Sunday morning. Over the next 7 days, our weather will be very interesting across the United States. It will not be nearly as active as the last 2 weeks with the large winter storms, but we will have multiple shots of snowfall moving through different regions. Tomorrow, we are expecting light to moderate snow across the northern plains and Midwest underneath a high-pressure system. Right underneath that high will be more cold air moving into the Midwest on Tuesday. By late Tuesday and early Wednesday, a very weak low-pressure system will form in the Ohio Valley. This will bring minor snowfall to Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Most areas will see a couple of inches, with a few locations possibly reaching 3 to 4 inches. Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning may bring snow to Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey. These areas missed out on the last winter storm and received very little snowfall. By late Wednesday and early Thursday, lingering moisture in the Carolinas could bring additional light snow to Virginia, the Appalachian Mountains, and parts of North Carolina. Thursday should be the quietest day of the week without any major weather events expected. But this is an important day to watch because 2 different Alberta Clippers will be coming out of Canada. The jet stream angle from the west and northwest will help these snow systems move across parts of the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast on Thursday and Friday. This represents our next big shot of snowfall in areas that have not seen much snow recently. Friday morning could bring heavy snowfall to Wisconsin, Minnesota, and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Another snow system will be moving into the Northeast simultaneously. Depending on how these 2 Alberta Clippers interact, we could see a widespread snow event across the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast on Friday and early Saturday. This could extend as far south as North Carolina and Virginia.